Hey y'all, Melissa here with you today with another thrift flip upcycled project. I'm going to show you how to take a t-shirt and turn it into this type of tank top. So choose a t-shirt that has at least a little bit of ease in the bust, not like what I'm wearing where it has negative ease and it is stretched out to cover my bust. You want it to have a little bit of extra room in the bust, and then meet me back at the camera and I will show you how to turn it into this. So we're going to be starting with a thrifted t-shirt, and I'm going to be using a marking tool and then my basic sewing notions. You don't really need any other supplies for this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to use my ruler to cut my top off below the collar here. So I'm going to be using this grid ruler to check, and this is 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches from that seam point. That's going to get me just below the collar, and I'm drawing a line here straight across. That's where I'm going to want to cut there. Before I do this, I want to carefully remove the sleeves. I'm going to snip into my t-shirt, and then I want to cut and make sure that the serged seam is staying on the sleeve side, not on the shirt side. Okay, once again, making sure those shoulder seams are even. Now I can cut across the line that I drew. And then I like to fold my t-shirt the other way and make sure that the two armhole cutouts are even. So next, I am going to sew a basting stitch on the armhole that we just cut. And I'm going to sew it 1/2 inch away from the edge. And this is just going to help me to turn down the hem that we're going to make here. So this is a trick that I often use when I have to make a hem on a curved edge, and that is to baste away from that edge, and then I use that stitching line to turn and pin on. So what will happen is, like around some of these parts of the curves, you'll be stretching the fabric, but that line of stitching helps you keep it consistent with and helps flatten out the very edge that's going to be showing, the folded edge. And these pins that I am using, which I do have linked below, are glass head pins. And it's important that they have glass heads because then they won't melt when I use the iron here in a second. If you use pins with plastic heads, you can melt them. Okay, so that basting helps me stretch the outer edge of the fabric but not the inner edge. Now I'm going to use my lightning bolt stretch stitch. You can also use a zigzag stitch to stitch along here, and then I can remove my basting stitching. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Here is what that looks like after I've stitched it, and I've done the other side as well. So now what we want to do is I want to take the front and the back, and I am going to fold these down 5/8 of an inch, and I'm going to press there. And I have a super simple pressing guide. This is just a piece of cardstock that I have measured off and drawn the lines on. So my 5/8 mark would be between 1/2 and 3/4. I don't actually have one on here. So we'll go ahead and press there. And then I'm going to stitch here, and I'm going to repeat that on the back side. After we have sewn those armholes and sewn the casings on the top and bottom, this is what our t-shirt should look like. And now we're going to come down to the bottom of the shirt, and I'm going to cut off the hem. And I am going to even up the bottom edge here. Fold those corners to match each other. And then I'm going to cut about 1 inch off the bottom here. You can mark this if you want to be really precise. And now I am ready to cut this in half. Just gonna snip through it. And if you pull it, what you'll see happen is that the ends roll in towards each other, and instead of a flat piece, it's now a tie. And I want to loop this tie through the casings that we made on the front and the back. So I'm going to use this tool. This is called a bodkin, and I do have it linked below. And I am going to close it and pinch it onto one end of my tie. And then I'm going to use it to pull that tie right through the casing that I sewed. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to loop it back through the other side of the casing. Then I can take it off, and you have a couple of options at this point. You can knot these two ends together, or you can leave them not tied to each other and squish your tank top up the way you want it, get it all adjusted. Obviously you would do this while you were wearing it, because then you can get it adjusted the way you want. And you can tie them, say, in a bow if you prefer that. So if you were going to knot them, you would want to try it on, figure out the length of your straps, and then you can knot them together. Or you can stitch them together and you can pull those stitched ends inside the casing so that both sides would look like this, like just a tied strap. So whichever option you prefer. Finally, decide on your finished length. Maybe you want to leave it the way it is. Knit fabrics like this t-shirt, they don't fray, so you don't have to hem it, but you can hem it. And I am going to go ahead and hem this. I am not going to go step by step through that because it's basically the same process as how we sewed these casings. And if you wanted to make a different type of hem, I have a post linked below with all kinds of knit hems. So pick whatever you want to do to the bottom of this, and then I'm going to hem mine and I will show you what the finished tank top looks like. All right, y'all, I went ahead and I hemmed the bottom edge. I didn't end up cutting any more off, but you could certainly crop this if you wanted. It might even be cute if you made another casing on the bottom with another drawstring to make it a crop top. But here is my easy upcycled tank top, and check out this playlist for more thrift flips and upcycled projects.